Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
No problem. How you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
We're doing really good. We're so ready for basketball season. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, same here. Same here. I'm excited to get some fans back in the stands too.
Coach, when we look at your team last year, obviously another successful season for the Spartans as you guys battled through a very tough AAC, including facing teams like Massillon Jackson, Massillon Washington throughout the season. So you paddled your tough schedule. You had some great players along the way too. And I know there's a few that we're expecting to return this year. I want to make sure we get the confirmation from you, but obviously guys like Ty Ventresco no longer there. So there's going to be some holes you need to fill. So talk about those big proponents of your roster that you think are going to be getting big, huge roles this year, and some of those younger guys that you expect to step up this year as well.
Yeah, first and foremost, losing a kid like Ethan Anderson is a huge loss for us. He went on to play college basketball at Marietta, a kid that was a 3-year starter for us that did so many things on both ends of the floor. Some big shoes to fill, and the seniors in general were a good group of kids that worked really hard, and they did a lot for our program. But into the mix goes the next group of seniors. That'll be led by Trey DePietro, 6'6" forward wing that has played the last 2 years. He was a starter for us last year, played as a sophomore on a really good team. A very versatile kid that's going to do a lot of good things for us. And then other returning seniors that played a lot last year. We have Seth Cervello at point guard. We have Luke Ryan at our shooting guard. Anthony Hightower, who came off the bench and played a lot for us last year, was a letterman. So was Ben Alvrico. They're very quick athletic guards that I think will cause some problems for us. And we have a deep senior class in general that is, ready for the return and ready to kind of take the torch and move it forward, hopefully.
You look at all those players that you just mentioned. Who do you think you're going to lean on a lot this year to be kind of the vocal leader, the coach on the floor, that kind of guy that really gets your team ready to go?
The guy that's really stepped up for us in that regard is Carter Mraz. He was a junior last year that, for whatever reason, didn't end up finding a lot of minutes, but has a great offseason, has been our vocal leader, has worked really hard over the last 4 or 5 months, and I think he's earned a lot of respect from his teammates. And he's a guy when we know we need something in practice or we need something relayed, that's one of the first guys we go to because his leadership is really strong.
I obviously have the opportunity to see this boys team over the last couple years, so it is a little bit odd not seeing a guy with the last name of Anderson being the big impact player going into it after the last 2 years. But going into this, Trey DePietro, I've seen him play too, and I thought last year too looked really good on the court. How's the summer work been for him? And you said he's going to be one of those big name scorers for you this year. What have you been most impressed with over the course of the summer, and what he's improved on?
He's really expanded his game. He's gotten stronger, which is, obviously helps in every phase of the game, but he's more comfortable on the perimeter. We'll see him step out and shoot the ball, and we're encouraging him to do that. Something that he's worked on, and just we're going to place him in spots where we feel like he has the best advantage every game. Some games that might be on the block, some games that'll be at the high post, some games it'll be, out in the open floor. It just depends. I think he's kind of a Swiss Army knife for us that we're going to try to use in a lot of different ways. He's had success as a role player, as a sophomore, full-time starter last year was a really important piece. And now this year, the next step is for him to be the guy for us and lead us in a lot of different ways.
After every season, coaches kind of look at the film and try to reflect on the whole season as a whole and think of things they could do the next year to get better. When you kind of did that and you looked at the guys you have returning and you saw them on film from last year and now you have them back this year, what are some things that you as a team kind of want to improve on or see improved this season to have more success?
I think, first of all, we realized we got to be better in close games and execute better. We lost a few close ones last year, a couple overtime games, games that we had leads in that we let slip away at the end of the game that really could have flipped our record a little bit better. So that's coming with experience. I think having the same guys on the floor in those moments this year will really help. And then just continuing to build and have good chemistry and reinforce our program values that we're going to play hard and be unselfish. And as long as guys are continuing to buy into those two things, I think good things will happen.
Talk about the schedule you're going to face this year. Obviously, you scheduled up last year. We expect much of the same, and looking at it, it looks very tough. Obviously, the AAC is always going to be a competitive conference. Talk to me a little bit about the games, how important those games are going to be in trying to grab a hold of the conference again this year, and some of those out-of-conference games too, and the challenges you're going to face in those.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, first and foremost, you said conference. I think everyone's going to be better this year, top to bottom. I think everyone has some guys back and has experience, has some talent. So it's going to be tough getting through the conference for sure. And those are always battles. You're so familiar with one another that it's tough to get through the conference. And then outside of that, our non-conference is definitely challenging. We have Cheney twice early on. We have Poland early on in December, and then we have the likes of North Canton Hoover and Massillon Washington and Canton Glen Oak, throughout the second part of our schedule. So there's really no game on our schedule that I could look at and be like, oh yeah, that's one that we're going to get for sure. We're going to have to come play every night. But that's where we need to be. That's who we need to play and get better against and be ready for, hopefully a tournament run at the end of the year.
Tell me some things that you kind of try to pass along or things that you hope that when your guys kind of leave your program that they take away from being with Boardman and they take away from your coaching that you want them to kind of carry on to life after Boardman High School?
I kind of hit it on it earlier. I really think as long as our guys are committed to the team and being unselfish and they realize that working hard is really the recipe for success. Those are really the core values that we try to try to put into place with our guys that, from the leading scorer to the last man on the bench, like everyone's important. Everyone has a role to play. And I was just talking to our team yesterday as we had to make final cuts and, make some tough decisions that, the guys in the locker room we really value, from the top guy to the bottom guy. And, we're all trying to pull in the same direction. I think that carries over, to everything else that these guys will do in life.
And you know what, Coach? I mean, talking about that and talking about the success that has brought on to Boardman basketball in recent years, I think it's easy to have these kids in this community buy in. So, talk to me a little bit about that culture that you wanted to build. Obviously, you talk about the teachings you do for these kids, but what is the culture of Boardman basketball, and what does it mean at the end of the day to be a Spartan on and off the court?
It's something that, it's a word that gets thrown around a lot. And I think as a head coach, I didn't really appreciate what it meant to have a culture until probably a few years in and some experience. So looking back, one of the things that I've always tried to do is just honestly do the right thing by kids and by people as best they can. Obviously, not everyone agrees with your decisions, but I feel like if you have good intentions and you come from a good place, people respect that and hopefully want to be a part of it. For us, a lot of it's been our youth program. That's going really strong right now. We have over 200 kids in our youth program that serves as a feeder to the upper levels. And a lot of our guys now went through that program as young kids and they're coming up to the varsity level. So these are kids that I have seen grow from, 5, 6, 7 years old. And now they're juniors and seniors in high school. And it's pretty cool to have that connection and see them work their way up through the program. And, for me, it's just trying to be visible and trying to be a part of everything. And, you make some mistakes along the way for sure, but you own those mistakes and you just continue to try to do the right thing and, and value everyone in the program. Again, from the best player to the youth basketball coaches, they're all important. And I try to demonstrate that as best we can.
Coach, I got to ask you about the coaching household that you have. Obviously your wife Felissa coaches the volleyball team and with great success. And now, you guys get to kind of trade places where you support the volleyball team all season during your quote unquote off months, and now she gets to go and take that role and support the basketball team and during her off months. What's it kind of like to have, two coaches in a household and being able to have that dynamic?
We're fortunate. We'd be lying if we said it wasn't crazy at times, and especially parts of the year where we're both have stuff planned. Like June's crazy for us. We have something every night of the week, and we're trying to balance things. But we work together, both as coaches and obviously as husband and wife on making it work. And, I value what she does with her volleyball program. I think she's a great coach, and I learn a lot from her, and I try to help her out along the way too with a little bit more experience in terms of being a head coach now. But we bounce ideas off each other and say we respect each other's opinions. And at the end of the day, we're number one fans both ways, and we know what each one's going through. So that definitely makes it easier.
I think every year is always a learning experience, and it's an opportunity to gain more knowledge for coaches. So in particular, since you started coaching Boardman in the Boardman program, what's the biggest thing you've learned about yourself as a coach since that point?
The number one thing I've learned that you need to do as coaching is definitely be able to adjust. I would say first couple of years or so, I thought I had a plan and this is what I wanted to do and this is what we were going to do. And you realize that, okay, that can't be the case every year. You better look at what kids you have and try to put them in the best possible position. So, this year I think we're running our third or fourth different offense, so to speak, over the last 4 or 5 years, because that's what fits our guys, and that's what we need to do this year. So some of the key concepts are the same for sure, but you need to be willing to adjust and make those changes and look at who's with you and what guys do well and put them in the best possible spot. I think that just comes with some time and experience. I'm pretty crazy. This is going into my 10th year, and I was laughing. We had a coaches meeting, a Zoom, and I was one of the old guys in the room all of a sudden. So it's pretty weird that how fast these years are going. I also need to learn to take better care of my voice, as I'm 5 days in and I already lost it. So I got to drink some honey or something like that.
Coach, before we let you go, we want to give you the chance to highlight your staff and the people that are kind of with you in this battle and help make this program what it is.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've been fortunate to have a lot of really great people with me over the years. And not only are they good coaches, they're just really good guys. Most of them have been teachers, which I think is really important because they know how to relate to kids. This year, that's the same. Steve Flores and Tom King are my 2 varsity assistants, and those guys have been around the game for a really long time. Steve was a former YSU basketball player who has coached at various levels for years. He's got a great demeanor to him. He's a teacher. He really understands kids. Tom is a fantastic basketball mind that has been a former head coach and has been through the fire and really gets the most out of kids on a daily basis. And those two really complement each other well. Our JV coach has been with me since my first year. He was a former player of mine in Dylan Vasella, and he understands what I'm trying to get out of every practice. And Ryan McCune's our freshman coach. That same thing. He was with me as a player early on. So it's pretty cool to see some of these guys come back after they graduate and want to be part of it. It makes you feel good as a coach that guys want to continue to be around what they were a part of once. So I love our staff. I love those guys, and they do a great job with our kids every day.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and helping us preview Boardman boys basketball a little bit and what you guys are going to bring to the table this year. We look forward to covering you all season, and we know that we're going to talk to you again real soon.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to say I appreciate what you guys do. I love the coverage you guys bring, and anything to get our kids some notoriety and get our programs covered. It's been great, and you guys continue to build your brand, and I think it's a really great thing for our area that you guys are doing.
Thanks, Coach. That means a lot.
All right. Take care, guys. Hopefully we'll see you at some games soon.
Oh, you will. You will.
Appreciate it.